To start this video from working through a new document and some of the options that we have. My size is set at tabloid. That's an 11 by 17. That's the largest paper that fits in most printers. If you scroll down other size choices, you have letter and legal. Legal is 8.5 by 14, and fewer places are actually carrying this kind of paper. So when you are printing in the lab, you want it to be on the large paper. Make sure you're choosing tabloid. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to go through a couple of options to change the format or the view. So if I go under Document Setup here, so go under File down to Document Setup, and then over to Edit Artboards, this is going to let me use things on the top menu to change its orientation of the paper. So right now it's in landscape. If I click on portrait, it will change the orientation of that size for me. It also will let me make multiple artboards in here, and that can quickly start to get complicated. So after you have changed your orientation of your paper, you can simply click in your toolbars and you'll go back into the space that looks common and familiar to you. I have my layers already up. I'm going to go and grab my image and place it in, and this is taking off of what we already did in class yesterday, so I'm going to redo that same thing where I have taken a picture of a 40s ad from my phone and simply am placing it in. Right now what you're seeing me do is grab the corner and move it down, but I'm holding shift down on the keyboard so that it keeps the width to height relationship or ratio exactly the same. Sometimes when you say ratio, people get math scared and they start to have deer in the headlights. I changed the landscape of my paper, and now I need to go back and change it back. So I showed you guys where to find that. I'm going to go back and find it again. So go to File and down to Document Setup, into Edit Artboards, and I'm going to hit the or choose the landscape. Click into my toolbox and then continue to make sure that this is going to sit or fit a little bit better in the space. That looks really good. This is a 40s ad out of Good Housekeeping magazine, so it's trying to tell us to eat breakfast and that we can save money and there's no cooking required and no mess, and so it's good for the war effort at that time. Next thing I'm doing is going to Image Ready, and we had talked about this before. We'll go through it again. I have an image trace or image live image had done this before, and I can just go and make and expand. I'm not going to do that. Remember, I'm going to go to Windows and Image Trace, which will pull up a whole panel. This panel is going to give me more options. Right now I have that selected, and with that selected I can go to Preview. This is letting me know, hey, you got a large image. This could take a while. I'm fine with that. This is going to go through that process of just doing sort of that middle of the road kind of threshold. Looks actually really good. If I click on the button in the advanced, I can make some other choices. I can tell it to ignore white. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to want to use the white. I can also go through and adjust the noise. And when you do that, you're going to notice that my letter forms might begin to fall apart. They might begin to look more generic. They might begin to look more Illustrator image trace, and that's not something I want. So I'm going to move this noise back down very tight so it's really going to be clean. I actually like the results I have right now, and so now I'm going to move forward with the next steps that we've done, which is to go under our object. We're going to go to expand. Once we expand, this is going to create all those little widgets or handles that we have. And then the next thing that I do is I ungroup it so that I have more options to control. Sometimes I have to ungroup it more than once, which is the case here. And I'm going to click away. This piece here I'm going to move this, and when I move it, it's going to look like it's empty. It's not. It's the white that I did not ignore, so it's the background. This is going to be very valuable for me. So I'm actually going to go under Edit, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to maybe go and start a brand new document. This should be set similar to what I have before, and I'm going to paste this in. And so if I just paste this into the document, I can start to work with it from here. It's white. I can go up to my swatches and choose black and fill it black. And this is going to start getting me into being able to print pretty fast. You notice that I've lost my counters, so I'd maybe want to take some time and some care with that so that those are still there and able for me to use those. Some of these lines I might want to go and clean up. I'm going to clean these up in a pretty fast way. So I've grabbed my rectangle tool. I'm going to select a rectangle over the top. It's going to paint this black. And you don't have to have this be absolutely perfect. You can do this and just have this be that you've hidden it and cleaned it up. And then you can print directly from here. That would be absolutely fine. Or I can go in and do some other things where I might actually make sure that I've managed this a little bit differently. Right now, this gets us in a really good space for quickly getting into reversing our text out and being able to use it. Next thing that I'm going to do is talk a little bit about position. So where do things sit or fit as far as arrangement goes, and also how that's a little different than layers. I'm going to do that by going back to my previous file, and we'll pick that up in the next little video.